So hi everybody, welcome to this free event. I put this on because I really wanted to help people understand that there are parts of us that really do hold us back from the perspective of living in this fifth dimensional life that we truly are blessed to have. And it doesn't always feel that way when we're living in it. But I can assure you that the more we do our work on ourselves, and I know that there are lots of people here that are doing a huge amount of work on themselves and healing themselves and have been for a long while. And so you can really see the difference in your experience of the outside world. And so what I wanted to do was to talk to everyone about what trauma actually does and how it affects you in your field, but also do some work on those money blocks, because that's something that everyone always wants to experience. They always want to experience some healing around money. And so I thought that was a really good thing to do tonight. And hi Michelle. And the other thing that I have been thinking about, and this is the guides, and this is my guides, right? So my guides said to me that they wanted to offer on this session tonight, anyone who is here live, you have to be live, okay? And you don't have to have worked with me before, or you can have worked with me before, so there's no restriction on it. I'm going to offer one of you a session with me. So that would be a private one-to-one tailored session to whatever you like. So the way that's going to work is that everybody who's present this evening, your name will be kind of written down, your first name, and then at the end of this session we're going to tell you, so between Wendy and I either Wendy's going to do it or I'm going to do it, we're not sure yet. So one of us is going to put the names into a little hat and tell you who got the free session. And we're going to run this session again next week. So we're going to run it on Tuesday. And so between now and Tuesday, we're actually also going to offer a free place on my 8-week program, which is really healing childhood trauma. And it is called Sparkle to Success. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you about tonight as well, all the different processes. And we're going to offer one person a place on that hasn't worked with me, that hasn't been on a program with me before. Okay, so then that would be a separate names in the hat, and to offer somebody an opportunity to come and work on a deep level with me and us on the program. So does that sound good? And that's down to my guides, and I think a lot of that is a really great representation for you, to show you that we can do that when we're in a place of freedom, and we feel that we have an alignment with receiving and giving. Then it is possible for us to do that. When we're in a space where we are not in alignment with receiving, giving, and that one is either more weighted than the other, then it isn't possible for us to do that from a place of alignment. We can do it, we can give our time, we can give ourselves away, we can do whatever, but we might be doing it from a place of fear or guilt, okay? So what happens then is that as you start to align your energy more and more and more, and obviously it's always about what you're here to do in the world, and you know, my mission is to help people get on their mission, so that's what I'm here for. That was my job. The more and more you actually receive that self-love, you clear those blocks that stop you from, what's that, Roshni? I've done the Sparkle to Success. Yeah, you did it. What was it, a couple of years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago, yeah. The more you do that, the more you refine your energy, the more you turn up the dial, the more that you let go of these beliefs that no longer serve you, that quite often we don't know where they come from. The more you do that, the more you are able to live in a place of freedom. Okay. And what I'm going to talk about in a moment is to tell you that when we do this process on releasing the blocks, the earliest block we're going to go for, the earliest block to our perception around money, okay, and we're going to go through a process, we're going to go through meditation. I'm going to take you through one of my favorite processes that is actually on the program. And when we do this, you're going to be surprised about how old that child was that took on those beliefs. And you're also going to be surprised about how you can access this deep place of perception and be able to release it and come through it. And it is really, really exciting. And then what happens with that is your external world, which is a reflection of your internal vibration, your vibration that you're living in, starts to reflect how you have shifted in your internal. Was that Roshni? You guys waving to each other on the screen. It's so funny. So if you, just people going to be listening to the replay. So I'm just going to say that if you don't know who I am, or if you've just seen this kind of advert on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, then my background is 20 odd years of working as a specialist in trauma. And a lot of that was in child protection. It was in child protection services in London. And so I used to do work on the line of helping families before their children were taken away. I would work with new babies and teenage parents. I would also work with trafficked children. So I would do assessments on children that have been brought over from other countries and were trafficked. Sometimes it was sex trafficking, sometimes it was money, so they would be used for earning money and exploited. You know, the window washers in London, those children, that sort of thing. And many of the children brought over were given a passport of the 1st of January and whatever year the UK government thought they were. So that was the kind of work I used to do. So I used to sort of be quite a detective as a trauma specialist, and I used to do those assessments. So my background is psychology, psychotherapy, and I added to it neuropsychology, naturopathy, mental health, you know. Anyway, there's many other qualifications I have, but really the reason why I'm telling you that is that my background is very much as a specialist working in trauma. And now what I do over the last sort of 15 years is incorporate my channel to spirit and my ability to see into the field and get told from my guides where exactly that trauma is based, where it comes from, and how we can release it. And sometimes that happens through just being told, and then we go there. And sometimes it's light language, and sometimes it's toning, and sometimes it's other ways of working. Okay, so just to open that door out today, because it could be that I have no idea what they want to do with you, right? I just show up. So it depends on the group that I'm working with. It depends on how much work you've done on yourself, but the guides will take me to a place to take you to the next vibrational alignment of success. And that's what was my intention tonight for you guys. So if you walk away with just coming on this free event and you shift something, perfect. If you choose afterwards that you want to join me on my program on Sparkle to Success, which starts on the 11th, 8-week program of releasing childhood trauma, then, you know, I'd love you to have on that as well. Wendy and I talk about that at the end as well. So that's my background. That's where I come from. I'm known as a spiritual scientist. So for me, I like the evidence. And quite a lot of these processes that I use with people to do with releasing trauma were given to me when I was working with veterans. So veterans that were diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. And I spent many years actually working with them, and actually didn't realize that there was a much bigger reason for that. And that much bigger reason was to be able to understand that these veterans were showing signs of separation to source. Okay, so I just want to show you and share my screen. Where is it? This one. So this is, can everyone see this? Dancing, can you see this? Yeah. So this is my peace scale. And if we look at this P scale, we can see that when we're in a disconnected perception of disconnection, we're in this space of fear, okay? And sometimes that is sadness and anger. And if you look here, it's sort of going along a scale. And when we're in a space of connectedness, then we are in that vibration of love, okay? So we can look at this and we can say, well, look, when veterans are experiencing PTSD, they are in that fight and flight fear response. And so what's happening there is they're responding to outside influences, it would appear, that are creating this fear and this trauma within them. However, what I found, and I'm just going to stop sharing this, what I found was that with these processes that are actually in Sparkle to Success, they were born from working with veterans. With these processes, actually, what we were doing was accessing the first point that they actually felt disconnected to source. So then what I found, and I just stumbled upon this, was that when they healed the part of them that felt disconnected to source, and we might not have said source at the time, but disconnected to the universe or whatever, then the PTSD symptoms were no longer there. So that's when I started my speaking career, really, because I was invited to speak about my work with veterans, which led me to realize that nobody else believed that. The NHS didn't believe it. Well, anyway, they didn't say they believed it. They said that it was 30% of veterans that had early childhood trauma were experiencing PTSD. Well, I found it as 100%. And I found that in 3 very short sessions of people that had been traumatized for a very long time, they actually healed themselves. So when we're talking about these processes, we're not just talking about a bit of counseling and a bit of visualization. We're talking about really deep vibrational processes that allow us to heal those deep core parts of us that we didn't even know about. Okay, so we're really looking at the part in the amygdala in the brain. When we're looking at that fight and flight part of us, that's the part that holds the non-language. So it's some people call it the reptilian brain, the early brain, and that's the part that's there before we've even developed language. So the majority of the time, when we are looking at our trauma, we don't even know where it came from because it was before we had language. And so that's why when we do counseling or talking therapy, and I was a psychologist and psychotherapist for a very long time, we can get to a really great place, but we can never quite get to the place, that actually is the key part that's held in the vibration. Does that make sense? And I really did stumble upon this. It wasn't something that I was planning. I was just working with veterans and just helping them, and they were healing. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. But the other thing, and the reason why it's called Sparkle to Success, is because what I found was that they all then went on to not only say, oh my goodness, I wasn't supposed to die that day, even though I saw my mate on the battlefield die, I knew it wasn't my time. But they said that, but they also went on to develop charities, to create, to work with others. So they actually started to actually live the mission that they'd come in to live. And so for me, that was perfect. That was exactly how it was meant to be. And now these years later, I realized that my mission is to help people align and heal the blocks to their mission. So Sparkle to Success is really about, you can be, as Marianne Williams says, who am I not to shine? You can shine that light. You can truly live that life of being on your mission. And what goes with that is freedom. And that freedom being able to choose, because you always could, you just forgot. So being able to choose what's right for you, being able to attract in to your life your birthright, which is pure abundance, is success, is that joy. Okay, and that's truly what I would like for you all. You know, when I look at my life, and I'm a walking example of it, because I was always in my younger years, I was always in struggle. You know, it was like, oh, it was always a struggle, it was always this, it was always that. And it wasn't until I started to do that really deep work around my childhood, but also around my birth story, which is really key as well. So conception, pregnancy, and birth, because I was born with a cord around my neck, right? So there were lots of things that when I healed those parts of me, then my world started to open up. It wasn't overnight, you know, I'm not talking about quick fixes, but we're talking about raising that vibration and turning the dial to that next level of vibration. And from a spiritual perspective, we're really looking at timelines. So what I mean by timelines is that we are on this timeline and we know what's happening in the world at the moment. And there are many possible timelines. And I know I talk to my groups about this, that we can raise the Schumann resonance and the resonance within us, the light within us, so that we can be on a different timeline. But it's not about us fighting. And it's not about us being in fear. It's about us being really selfish in a way and working with our own vibration. Because as we transform our own vibration and we really live our true freedom, oh, we've got the guys are stepping in here. Feels like someone's tickling me. You know, as we live in that true vibration, then the outside world, which is really just a reflection of our inside world, actually what we see changes. Okay, so the more people that actually work, and this is just my belief, my perception, the more people that actually work on themselves and help others to heal. And this program I'm running is not just for our own self, it's for our families, it's for, if you're a practitioner, it's to use it with your work. You know, I'm not calling it a qualification. I'm not calling it something that you can just, you know, call yourself a consultant or anything like that. I really do not do that anymore. What I believe is that you can add these processes to your life. So whether you use it for yourself, for you and your family, we don't have to have any of the, you know, technical pieces of paper to say, I'm doing this process with you. It is just energy, okay? And so that's what I really want to come across with as well, is that we don't have to jump through hoops like we used to in the old days with EFT. And obviously my journey started with EFT. And so, you know, trying to get that NICE approved here in the UK, trying to fight a cause for having it in the mainstream. Yeah, I did all that. Yeah, I did all that. So now it's very much about us embracing our own transformation, the guides say. And as we embrace our own transformation, we are then in that place that we are helping others transform their own vibration. And then all that can happen is more love and peace in the world. Nothing else can happen, right? So I just want to ask, just speak to Roshni, if you don't mind, Roshni, because Roshni did this course a couple of, it's good that you're on here actually, a couple of years ago, and you've been using it, haven't you, these processes with people?
Yes.
So
yes.
What would you know, just explain.
Right, so there's at least 4 or 5 different processes. There's 2 that I use regularly on myself, on family, on friends, on people at work as well. And the difference it's made, like literally, you, after I finish the session, which only takes like can I say what one of them is?
Yeah, of course.
So one of them is called
them all.
the emotional wall. And literally after I finished that session, the person who I've done the process with, they start crying, or they just like feel a huge burden's lifted off their shoulder. And then, or a few days later, like one of the guys at work I did it on a month ago, he said he had a problem with his dad. His dad's passed away 2 years ago, and he used to come in his dreams and he couldn't sleep properly and what have you. And he goes, after whatever you did, he goes, I've been able to sleep. And he goes, he comes in my dreams and he smiles at me. And he goes, I can't thank you enough. And I was like, oh.
Would that have been the forgiveness one?
Yeah.
Would that have been the forgiveness?
Yeah. There was, I think I did cord cutting.
Nice.
Yeah. And emotional wall. And there's a few that I loved when we were doing the course that I haven't followed on. And I think I need to delve in those again. I've got all the packs and everything. So yeah, but amazing. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, and also the other thing that's really important about that, I was going to say, was you don't need to know anything, do you?
No.
So and quite often if you think you know what that person needs to heal, that isn't what it is anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's what I love about it.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, there's actually 6 processes that we use in Sparkle, and that we're doing it over 8 weeks. So we're doing a deep learning of all of it and actually experiencing it ourselves as well. And what I would say is that the inner child work, it's quite interesting because, you know, our relationships, I don't just mean romantic, I mean relationships, you know, with work colleagues, etc., our families. When we do this work, those things just change big time. And the resentments that perhaps we had as an underlying feeling, or the fears that we had as underlying, or the guilt or the shame, the curry, I call it, the curry in our field, and the, you know, fruit and veg in our field. Which one do you want? Do you want to eat curry every day, you know, breakfast, lunch, dinner, in this heavy shame, guilt, fear? Or do you want to be in fruit, veg, steamed fish, whatever it is you do, you know? And that's your acceptance and love. And so what I say is that when your vibration shifts, then your heart field opens and expands. So therefore, the people don't change, but because you've changed, the universe gives you a reflection of your love of yourself. Makes sense? So the more you love yourself, the more you honor yourself, the more those people in the office, in your family, your husband, your wife, your kids, the more that happens is a reflection. Okay. And so that reflection becomes where my little son, who's 11 and a half, looks at people on the street and says, oh, mummy, that man was so kind to us, or that lady was so kind to us. People are always really kind to us. I'm like, yeah, because that's how it is, you know. And it's like that reflection comes back to you. And my favorite one is the parking space, you know, like if you expect that parking space to be there, that parking space will be there. Yeah, so you just align yourself to believing that you're worthy and deserving. Okay, so I just want to, before we get into doing this process around money, I just want to ask everybody if there was something specific, because you would have signed up for this for a reason. Okay, so tell me why you signed up. Don't tell me your whole life story or anything like that, but just tell me the reason why you signed up and what you would really like to get from this. And if you were interested in having your name in the pot for a session and or to come on the course, it's a commitment of 8 weeks on a Friday lunchtime. Okay, so I'm just going to go to, who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to Guy, actually. I'm going to unmute you, I think, or you might need to unmute yourself, Guy. Yay, hi Guy. So lovely to see you. And what was it that kind of drew you to tonight?
Just wanted to find out some more, really. And
yeah,
I know there's things that have got blocks that need to be cleared. So that's it.
Yeah. And would you be open to receiving a session from me? Like if your name was called, would you like to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd like to be. up for that. And because obviously people don't have to, like, you don't have to do that, but that would be a free session. And would you like to be considered for a place on the course?
Yes, I don't. It's just because I'm working from home at the moment. It's a bit difficult, perhaps in that respect, to do. But yeah,
I'd say it's easier to do, isn't it? If you're working from home, you can just like not work from home for an hour and a half. That's what Roisin did. Yeah. So it's possible. I mean, you don't have to be put down as a name on the list. It's fine. But, you know, think about.
Yes, completely.
Like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so you would like to. Okay,
Yeah,
Wendy, you're noting this, Wendy, are you?
I know there's so much happening at the moment anyway. That's probably, you know, I can't even say it.
Astrologically, yeah, we did, last night we did the full moon event, which was really cool. And we looked at where the full moon in Pisces was in your chart, and also looking at Mars, because Mars is, you know, obviously in Aries at the moment, and it's going retrograde. So it's very much about where do you want to drive yourself forward. So astrologically, it's a really good time.
But for me, there's a lot of stress at the moment. We're trying to do change at the moment, and things aren't quite going according to plan. So, or as people like.
So what would you like to set the intention for this clearing tonight? What would you like? Because it's important to have an intention, because when we're working with the teams, meaning the spirit teams, they want specifics. You know, you don't have to tell me specifically what it is you want to work with, but the theme of it, and they really want specifics, you know, so that you can be clear.
Like I said, there's so much going on at the moment, and I mean,
overwhelming.
Well, we're trying to move house. We've just lost one buyer, trying to move 2 houses, taking my father into a house we're all going to be in. He's 88 now, so but we've just lost his house from sale, so we're trying to get a new buyer for that. But I was talking to one of my other Rahani sisters, Alison, the other day, and like, the house we found, there's, you know, so many things that we're talking about putting a cabin in the garden. It's a big garden for doing Rahani, which hasn't really taken off since I've done it. I just seem to find, I don't know, blocks, whether it's me, whether it's procrastination or whatever it is.
Sure. Well, we can set the intention. So when we do this process in a moment, we can set the intention that you are going to access the first time that you created the belief around blocks to ease and grace, or something like that. So the blocks, I mean, we were talking about money, if you want to talk about money, and would that help? Would it be helpful to?
No, that's improved. I mean,
good.
And there are certain things that have changed, and it is the mindset, you know. How you think is what you get, basically, isn't it? So
you choose what you want to set the intention for it, but you will access the first time you ever created that belief in this lifetime, like, obviously. But, so set that intention, what you want to achieve from it.
To clear the blocks that are stopping me from doing the things that I feel I should be doing. I believe I was given a few things to do. There's some books to write, videos to prepare, and I just haven't found it's been work as well. I'm blaming work for my everyday job for preventing it. So
maybe it's the mission, maybe it's the blocks to aligning fully to my mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I need to clear.
Let's do that one. Yeah. All right, my love. Okay, Wendy. By the way, Wendy is my assistant, or my beautiful friend as well, but she is my assistant, so she does, if I'm talking about Wendy, she's there, you can see her on the screen. She is my assistant, so that's why I'm saying Wendy, if you noted that name. Okay, so I'm going to go to Torgan. Okay, Torgan. Hi, Torgan. Hi. So welcome to this evening. What was it that drew you to come? And would you like Would you like your name in the pot?
Yes.
You'd love your name in the pot for a session,
Yeah.
or would you like your name in the pot
Both.
for both? Okay, so
Yes.
Wendy can note those two down as well. Yeah.
It was things have to change now.
Yeah.
There have been too much choosing a lot of drama, loss of home. I slept on the couch for 3 days. No money, and I have to say no to family.
Okay.
And there are some friends that are no longer friends, and
So
I
getting
have to
the
change
worthy.
this.
I'm getting that it's about the blocks to worthy and deserving. So I'm really feeling that, you know, when we do this process, I want you to set the intention that we go to the place, that you first believed you were not worthy and deserving. Okay. That's what I'm really feeling for you.
Thank you.
But saying no to your family, the feeling you had with it was what?
Pardon?
When you had to say no to your family, what was the feeling that you had with it?
Sorrow.
Yeah.
I was sorry that I had to say no to the family.
Yeah.
And to make a distance from the family and me. To let me be me, I had to say no.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sorrow.
Okay.
I don't have the English words for it.
No, you're doing really well and expressing it really well. So it's sort of I mean, I could, you know, work individually with you here, but I'm not going to do that now. But the sense I'm feeling is quite a lot of guilt. So it might be that when you work with this process in a moment, that you work with the first time that you felt unworthy of receiving love. Okay. Because love and money are on the same vibration. Okay. And when we have situations that happen in our life when we're younger, part of our heart field gets shut down a little bit, and it's what the guides are giving me is kind of like a visual of a stable door. So, you know, you've got the top of the stable door and the bottom, and one part of it is shut. So then with that part that's shut, we no longer can vibrate and receive what our true sovereign birthright is. Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for showing up. And obviously you saw it and it was the right time to see the video, right? Did you see the video? Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You just see it when it's the right time for you. Okay, my love, brilliant. So Wendy's put your name in. Right, so I'm going to go to Lansing. So Lansing, thank you for being here. Sure. Lansing's part of our soul family, so she's here. So I think you're supporting, aren't you? You're here supporting.
Supporting, and I can share that, you know, a lot of you guys know, but a couple of you don't know that I had 2 strong messages in my body, cancer twice, and I came to Susan after the second time to just try to understand why I keep getting cancer in my body. It has a lot to do with my childhood trauma. And so we're working with Susan to clear some of the childhood trauma that I went through, like as a small child, things that I saw. And so I'm here because I feel like, I feel like that's part of my mission is to help people too that maybe are struggling with childhood trauma, and then always I know that there's more to clean up. So any opportunity to do some more healing in that area is good for me. And like you, is it Torgun?
Yeah, Torgun.
Yeah, I'm struggling with my son too, with having, you know, a lot of difficulty with him too. So I understand what you're going through in terms of just deep sorrow and sadness. And so I'm looking forward to healing with you on that level.
Yeah. And so Lancing, Wendy put Lancing in the free session block. Okay, good. So yeah, because you can never have too many sessions, right, Lancing? you can just add them up and put them in. Yeah, that's brilliant. Oh, thank you for sharing that as well. Yeah, and that's a really good point actually, that I hadn't thought about sharing today. But the body is the barometer for our soul. So our soul decided it would have a body, obviously, because we're in this dimension of being human, and so the body shows the emotions that are held, that are the unwanted parts, that are not of the vibration of pure unconditional love. And so what that is the part that we didn't step into our mission. You know, we really didn't step into seamless love. Okay, and that's okay, because that's all perfect and it's all meant to be that way. And then the wake up happens, and the wake up is when we don't listen, right? And that's okay too, because there's always a divine plan for why we need to experience these situations in our life, or those messages in our body. Okay, so Lancing's been on my Body Soul Universe program, intense program. So, and also the Spiritual Entrepreneur actually. So she's been on the program of the body, but she's also now on the Entrepreneur program, which actually finishes this week, and is transforming what happened into service for others. Okay, and so that's how it is in our life. You know, when we have something that's happened, then we can look at it and use it as that vehicle to be that support for others. So that's just perfect. And you're excited about that, aren't you, Lancing? You're excited about, definitely.
I'm excited.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thanks for being here, Lancing. Sure. Great. So I'm actually going to go to Michelle's lying in her. You're lying in your bed. You're lying in your bed. Are you in your sofa? Can't see.
I am lying in bed.
So Michelle, thank you for being here. Obviously, you know, we know each other really well, but what could you say to people about the childhood aspects of work that you've done?
I've done quite a lot of childhood work with you, but I feel there's still more to come, because every time I have it done with you, I'm very tearful. But it has raised my vibrations. I've come a long way, but I feel I still need to go a bit further.
And I think one of the things with Michelle, if she doesn't mind me saying, is that her connection to her intuition and her guides has got so much stronger, hasn't it, from the work that you've done and all those parts of you that have healed. So we kind of have many layers and many aspects of us that shift so our body does, our emotions do, of course, our vibration, but also our connection to our true inner guidance, that shifts as well. So, and that's obviously as we become a clearer channel to source, isn't it, Michelle? So Michelle, would you like to be thought about in the list for a free session?
Oh yes, please.
Okay, Wendy, put Michelle's name in the pot. Brilliant. Okay, Roshni, we've heard from you, but we can hear from you again.
Okay.
So thanks for, you know, saying those things about using the processes with other people. But what would you say about the work that you've done for yourself?
Okay, so I feel that the inner child healing is the most crucial, and a lot of I've done quite a few courses with yourself and a lot of healing sessions, and it like you say, it's like an onion. Yeah, so you think you've cleared it, and 2 years later or 2 months later, something else comes up. And although like the last 2-3 years I've done quite a few courses and healing with yourself and other people as well, I'm feeling currently that there is something little lurking
tweak
around, that's stopping me from getting into my mission. And you know, that's what I'd like to clear.
And you know, what I was hearing when you were speaking was, it is very much about that next vibration, isn't it? And what I said right at the top of the session was, what I want everyone to experience today is the next level of vibration. So the next timeline for who you are. So yeah, it makes sense that, because you've stepped massively on your timelines and massively in your relationships, in, you know, we can see that, and you know, opening your heart more to receiving, and so it's just going to that next timeline, isn't it? That next timeline of experience. So Roshni, would you like to be considered for the...
I was going to say no, but you know what, why not?
Absolutely, yeah, exactly, because it will be what the universe, you know, like if you're meant to receive
whoever's
it, you'll
meant
receive
to
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, that's the way I see it as well. Thanks, darling. Okay, so I'm going to go to Zoe, actually. Zoe, yay.
Hi.
Hi, Zoe.
I was driving from an appointment, so
That's fine. All right. Oh, so you caught the bit where I'm offering a free session to somebody?
I heard that. Yeah, I've heard that at the end, but I think I kind of came in on my phone, just in the car at 10 minutes in or something.
Oh, so okay, that's fine. Yeah. So what do you want to say about the inner child healing? What would you like to share about that?
I would agree with what Roshni said, how it's a really crucial part of the journey, and I think until you go really deep, not really maybe
your reception's a bit dodge.
I don't know what's going on with my internet at the moment.
No, neither do I. It never used to be like that.
I feel like it's just something going on in the town, maybe. Yeah, it's a really crucial thing, and I think you may not realize how deep you need to go until you do it, if that makes sense. And it's it's like the layers of the onion keep getting unfolded, and it's like, you know, the more deeper you go, the and I think what it's taught me is to really own my feelings and own my emotions, and not kind of like hide from them and bury them and suppress them. Because I think, you know, my mum passed away when I was 22, my aunt passed away, and I had a lot of like people that passed away in a short space of time, and I buried all of that, and I just walked around. I was like, yeah, I'm fine, and then suddenly I realized I wasn't fine, and I hadn't dealt with it, and then I hadn't dealt with things that had happened part before that. So I feel like a completely different person from when I started with you. Like, I don't know how many years ago it was when we did sessions. Like, I think I was lucky enough to have an hour, and I had five sessions in, like, I was like, I'm so grateful for that time. But, you know, so I've given up smoking. I've changed my whole life around work-wise. I've got my own business. My abundance has just, like, you know, grown through the roof. You know, through courses that I've done, and it's not all about the inner child stuff, but it all kind of comes back to that. You always end up going back to that at some point in one of your courses. There will always be an inner child thing that will happen and get cleared, because it's always the root cause of this life.
And it's the trigger, isn't it? So it's the trigger. Like, we've had all these different lifetimes, we've had experiences ancestrally, epigenetically, but it's where it gets triggered in this lifetime, isn't it? And whether it's in conception, pregnancy, birth, or whatever.
It's quite often something that happens in your life that you'll have a trigger, you know, through a conversation or through a reflection, and it will show you a part of yourself that you may not want to see, and you may not be ready to see it. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Oh.
It's fine. It's fine. It's good, actually.
You froze.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember what I was saying now. You froze, so I wasn't sure if you could hear me. Yeah, and you might not be ready to hear or see that or feel it.
Yeah.
But when you do, that's when the big healing happens. And that's what I love about your work, is that it's taught me to own that and be authentic and not hide away from it. And I feel like a completely different person. Like, giving up smoking was probably one of my biggest things, because I did it for 20 years and now I gave up 2.5 years ago, and that was through work that we did. And my intention was set when I did a group of sessions with you, and you said to me then, she was like, you were like, it might not happen straight away, it might kind of just fall away at some point down the line. And that's exactly what happened. It just went, and I was like, oh my God, I stopped smoking. Yeah, it stopped being a thing, because so it's just been amazing. So thank you. But yeah, I think I feel like I went on for too long, but it's been an incredible journey so far. So I'm really grateful for the experience.
So Zoe, would you like to be?
Yes, please.
Yeah, she would. Yeah, she would.
Whoever's meant to have it will have it, won't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Be great. Thanks, darling. Okay, so I'm going to go to Jennifer. Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer. Hi.
Sorry, I'm at a doctor's appointment.
Oh, okay. Do you want to speak after? I'll go to Stacey and Wendy. Will you be done by then, or?
Probably not, but I'll listen. I'm going to still listen in.
Listen, would you like to be considered for a place?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. I don't want you to, if you're in the doctor's office, I don't want to interrupt you. Okay, Stacey, and then Wendy.
Hi.
Hi.
What's the question?
what would you like to add?
What would I like to add?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've had the manual to this program for a while and gone through a lot of it.
Oh yeah, let me show you guys. So this is the basic one, which is kind of like, this is how it would be if you got it physically and live and like that. But it's actually upgraded now. It's actually updated. So it's got all the processes in, but they've been actually updated and other things added. So you get a manual, yeah, definitely. And
yeah,
Stacey
so I
would be
thought,
an upgraded one.
I think the program sounds really interesting to do a deeper dive into the processes a little more.
And and actually use them specifically. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah. Great. And what do you feel about the inner child work that you've done? What do you feel you can say shifted for you?
Very potent work. You know, and kind of like we both have histories with EFT, and you do a lot of that work in EFT as well, and matrix re-imprinting, and so it just goes to prove how powerful it is. And so
I think
it always seems like matrix, it's refining.
Yeah. It's always refining.
Mm-hmm.
The difference with matrix re-imprinting is that you go to the last time you felt that, whereas with this, you go to the first time you felt it.
Mm-hmm.
So you bypass how it got triggered, and you bypass that, don't you?
Yeah, and I think I just think that it just highlights how important it is to
work on yourself.
To work on yourself and keep refining and going back. I was reading the other day, somebody posted, I don't remember who it was, but they were just talking about how, like, being a child in and of itself and growing up can be traumatic. And I actually feel like I had a really good childhood. But
you know, that it's perceptions of belief, right? So you know, we might have this perception of belief that is you know, you feel like consciously, I deserve this, right? And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but there's a vibration that is not necessarily yours, that is in your field from your ancestors, from triggered in childhood, that you don't know about, that like Zoe said, you've suppressed down. And then it shows itself in the external world, doesn't it? That's the profound healing bit, I think, is when we go to places that we didn't know were there.
Yes. Yeah, I still feel like I have some money imprints from my parents that I've worked on, but
so let's do that. Let's do that tonight. Let's work with, set the intention that first perception of belief, but really go into what that belief is. And obviously you don't have to show it here, but when you do that, be really specific of what emotion is. And I will take you guys through it anyway, but just for you just to know that. And Stacey, would you like to be part of the
yes, please.
Session? Okay,
yes,
great.
Please.
I think everyone's going to say yes to that, Wendy.
And for that slot you're giving away for the course,
it would be somebody who hasn't worked with me before.
And so is it somebody from today and Tuesday? Or? Yeah. I was just telling my friend about it. I was just messaging with her.
I'm gonna give the people, because it's only if you're live with me.
Okay.
And so if you're actually present, then you get put into the pot for a session. Or if you haven't worked with me before, like Guy and Torgan haven't, then they also get, and the people that are on the replay, because quite a few people signed up, if they want to come on the live call on Tuesday, they get the opportunity in the pot. And then after Tuesday, that's when we will call it for the course, which starts on the Friday. So yeah,
perfect. Yeah, I let her know.
If your friend wants to do that, that's fine. All right, my darling. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, all right. So I'm going to go to, where's Wendy gone? Is she here? Or has she disappeared? Wendy's gone. Oh no, she's there. Why couldn't I see you, Wendy? That's so weird.
Oh, maybe I should work on being seen.
Well, maybe you could show yourself. Maybe that's why. No, what happens is if someone takes their, there you go.
Can you see me now?
Space. Okay, go. Yeah. Hi, Wendy. So meet everyone, Wendy. Guy and Torgan, meet Wendy. So what happens is when somebody goes off the screen and they take their video off, then it all shuffles around and I look somewhere else. And then when someone puts their video on, they all shuffle around again. So I'm like, oh my God, where's she gone? So, Wendy, obviously you would like to be considered to be put in the pot for a session.
Okay, we'll give it to somebody else.
Okay,
I'm good.
All right, you're good. Yeah, you've got me pretty much the whole time, so that's fine. That's what we're going to do, Wendy, aren't we? So what you can work with something today that you want to release, because we've always got stuff to do, right? And what would you say would be, one of the key things around working with your childhood aspects that's happened with you?
I think for me, a lot of my, personal relationships have gotten better, especially with my husband, definitely with my son. So I have a 3-year-old son, and it's really, really helped to heal certain things that needed to be healed. I think as a child, I was never allowed. My parents were really strict and we were never allowed to kind of say what we wanted to say. And so I think that kind of happened, in my relationships and my career and things like that. So a lot of the work that I've done has really helped bring that out. And it's been a lot of, inner child healing. So there's been a lot of crying, which is good. I love when I cry because I'm like, yes, I'm releasing. So, so it's really, it's been amazing for me. So.
And the thing that's coming to me as well here is that when you learn these processes as well, you can use them with your children, and you can use them in a proxy way. So what's coming to me is to say that when you use these processes, you can sort of set the intention that you're clearing this for your child as well. Yeah. because obviously you can't always work with children because they might be too young, or they're not there, or they're not present. But you can set the intention that you're clearing this for your child as well. And I know we do that on different levels, but it will be really interesting to see people do that and what happens, because we are all connected, as we all know, and we're all connected, and there's no separation. So as we set that intention, we're setting the intention that they're healing that aspect of themselves as well. So yeah, that's great. Brilliant. So shall we get on with doing this healing work? I'm just going to clear that off my screen. Okay, so Jennifer, you might want to do this in the replay, because you know, you might not be able to do this work while you're sitting in a doctor's surgery or doctor's practice, and anybody listening to the replay, welcome to do this, and you will receive exactly the same power of this process than you did being live. The only difference of not being live is you get to express who you are, and you also get an opportunity to work with me. So, okay, so just everybody just come in to their heart space. And I'm just going to clear the energy to prepare. Create all this. It's commanded that you pull, clear, cancel, and delete on all 4 levels, and resolve on the history level. Any waywards, any ruptures, any entities, any attachments, anything that does not serve, and send it up to unconditional love, so that we can all be pure, clear channels of light and love. And help everybody here present and anybody listening to the replay to access the first point that is for their highest and best good, that is blocking them to receiving, whichever level it is for them, whatever it might be about, whether it's money, whether it's love, whether it's success, whether it's aligning to mission, whether it's their body, whether it's their family relationships, whether it's the intimacy of themselves or the intimacy of others, or whether it's just this feeling that they really don't know how to be here at the moment in this world. So I want you all to come into your heart space once again, and just really breathe into your heart. And I want you to imagine that there's a beautiful golden light in your heart. And as you breathe, you start to see this golden ball of light expand out into your body. And imagining every single one of your cells lighting up with the possibility of healing any unwanted emotions. And I want you to imagine that you can see yourself as this light. And as you start to see yourself as this light, you start to remember that you are this light. And I want you to feel that connection of Mother Earth under your feet. And feel that connection of the universe or the multiverse above your head. And I want you to see yourself in a beam of light. And this light is protective, healing, expansive. And you start to feel this sense of peace once again. A peace that perhaps has been absent for a while. But your soul has always known that it's been there. So I want you just to connect with your heart once again. And you can either open your eyes and come back to me, or you can keep your eyes closed as I take you through this process. Okay, so set your intention of what you want to heal. And I want you to imagine that there is a wall in front of you. This is one of my favourite processes called the emotional wall, something that Roshni spoke about. And I want you to see that wall in front of you and imagine that you're standing behind it, knowing that you're safe and secure. And just have a look at that wall, because that wall represents what's blocking you. And then I want you to imagine that you can see over the wall. And even if you can't see over the wall, maybe you could imagine what would be on the other side of the wall. And then I want you to look to the side of you, because your little child, your inner child, is standing next to you. This is the first time that you had this perception of belief, whether it's around money, whatever it is. This is the first time. And this is the first time that you put up that wall, because it didn't feel safe to be where you were. So I want you to imagine that your little child is looking at that wall, and just connect with them on how they feel. How are they feeling that that wall is in front of them? How are they feeling that they have this barrier? And I want you to imagine that they're in a bubble of light as well, a bit like yours. And just notice how they feel when they're receiving this light around them. Just connect with that emotion. And then can they imagine what's on the other side of the wall? Just see if they can imagine it. Don't worry if they can't. And then we're going to invite in some beautiful angels for this child. And we're going to surround them with these beautiful angels. You start to notice that the child starts to feel a little tiny bit safer in the world. And just get them to sense and feel that feeling of the angels around them. And connect with the emotion. And then one of the angels is going to step forward. And she's holding a basket full of sparkling stars. Now, all of these stars are cleansed and beautifully sparkly. And I want your child to choose the star of connection. So they can place their hand in the basket and truly feel that sparkly star of connection. And as they pick it up, I want them to place it in their heart, so that they once again feel that they are connected, that there was no separation, and that they were never on their own. Take a deep breath. Connect with how your inner child feels. And then I want them to look in the basket of stars and find the star of pure unconditional love. And I want them to choose that star, hold it in their hand, and place it in their heart, remembering that they are worthy and deserving of receiving unconditional love, and that they are unconditional love. They just forgot. So take a deep breath and just connect with your inner child. How do they feel now? What is the wall looking like? And now I want them to go to the basket full of stars and find the star of peace. And do exactly what they did before. Pick the star up and place it in their heart. This time feeling that sense of peace. And what the guides are giving me here is that sense of coming home. So feeling that ease and grace. And just connect with your inner child. How do they feel? Are they getting a sense that it's okay to be in the world? And now I want that child to look in the basket full of stars for the star of mission. So I want them to find that star, and actually as I'm looking at this now clairvoyantly, I feel that these stars are quite big. So I want your child to find their mission star and to truly look at it. See that star of mission and know that as they place it in their heart, vibrationally and on a soul level, they remember what their true mission is. And they start to feel this energy throughout the whole of their body as it starts to vibrate, starts to connect. And there is a sense of a remembering. And now I want your child to look in the basket full of stars. And there is a cloak of protection. So this is like a cloak that they can put on. And quite often it's sparkly. So I want them to find their cloak of protection and to place it around their shoulders. And maybe it's got a hood. And just get them to feel that sense of protection, that they're always protected. They never have to fear anything. And just get them to have that sense of feeling now. How do they feel about being here in the world? And then I want them to look in the basket full of stars for their very own magic wand. So get them to find their magic wand and to hold that magic wand in their hand. And to know that they have this magic. They can change and create anything. So I want them to have a look at their little body, however old they are, and to look down their body as if they're scanning their energy field. So whatever you've set the intention for to release, whether it might be fear or whatever it might be, just get them to find that emotion in their body. This is what the guides are giving me. To get them to access that fear or shame or whatever it might be, or unworthiness or confusion, whatever it is for you. And look at where it is in the body. And then get your child to wave their wand with sparkling light over that space in their body that is an interruption in light, that is a trauma, that is a belief, and get them to whoosh that away, sparkle it away, and watch it travel up to the universe or down to Mother Earth, wherever it needs to go, or maybe you'll just see it disappear. And I want you just to continue to do that with your inner child. And just make sure that all of those interruptions in light, all those little parts that are being highlighted for you, are whooshed away, that there's no longer that block held in the energy field. I'm just going to give you a second or two to do that. It just literally is energy, so just get them to wave their wand, and if they need a little bit of help, invite the angels to come and help. And those of you that have done Rahani, just connect with your Rahani angel if that helps. Okay. And then I want them to get their magic wand and just create a whirlwind of light around them. Just expanding their auric field and clearing away any debris, any old bits and pieces that were there before, any dust, let's say. And now have a look at how that wall is for them. Is the wall still there? Is it smaller? Can they see over the wall? And if there's any wall left, get them to use their magic wand and just disappear that wall. Fantastic, and take a deep breath. And then I want your adult self, because you were standing there behind the wall, I want your adult self to say to your child self these words. Okay, so I just want you to repeat them. So I want you to say to your child, I'm so sorry that you felt you had to put up this wall to keep yourself safe. I'm so sorry that you felt so scared that you felt you needed to hide. I'm so sorry that you forgot you were an incredibly powerful being of light, having a human experience, and that abundance was your birthright, that you were always meant to be free, that you always had choice, that you were always protected, that you were always loved. Now I want you just to remember to breathe, so take a deep breath. And I want you to say to your child, and some of your children may be expressing tears and relief and emotion, and that's a good thing. And I want you to say to your child that you will always love and accept them for who they are, whoever they choose to be in the world, and whoever they choose to be with. And I want you to imagine that you could bring your child into your heart space, or allow them to melt into you. And then I want you to have a look and see what you can see in front of you. Can you see a landscape? Can you see the sea? Can you see trees? Can you see whatever you can see is perfect. And I want you to repeat these words. And as you repeat them, I want you to imagine that you're stepping over that threshold in a moment when you say the words, that you're stepping over where the wall was and stepping into that space in front of you. So I want you to say, as I let go of the past and the limiting beliefs, I step into the present, which creates my future. I remember I am a being of light, having a human experience. that success is mine, that I'm fully worthy and deserving of love. I am a being of light, and I have the ability to choose. I am free. Take a deep breath. And I want you to imagine that you were standing with your arms out wide, and that you could hear or feel or smell or experience the freshness and the newness of a shift in your energy field. So what you may be seeing is brighter, fresher, warmer, whatever it might be. The sun might be on your face, whatever it is. And I want you to take a snapshot of that. And I want you to bring that snapshot into your heart and just expand it throughout the whole of your body where you're sitting now. And just set the intention that that vibration goes out to the universe, expands out as a new vibrational set point of who you are, and bring it back to your heart so that you can truly own this new timeline, this new experience, and this new part of who you are. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And so it could be that you all managed to clear your wall. Sometimes that happens. And it could be that sometimes there's a little bit left over, and that's okay. That's just another emotion. And what I'm really feeling about this is to understand and help you understand that that child part of you was outside of you, essentially reacting to situations. So the expression might be that you're acting like a child, okay, and there's no judgment with that. So you're acting like a child because the situation that arises in your life, the perception that you have is of that child. Okay, does that make sense? So when you heal that part of you by giving compassion, by healing those perceptions of not feeling connected to the world, not feeling connected to Source, not feeling connected to Mother Earth, you are able to be more of an adult. So you're able to make choices from being that adult rather than choices from being that child, okay? And as a child, obviously, there's a sense of vulnerability with that, okay? So I just want to hear from, a couple of you who would ever like to share what their experience was and how they feel now. So I'm not going to pick on you. I'm just going to say if you want to share, you can share. So who would like to share? Torgan. Okay, Torgan. Ah, beautiful. Just, oh, brilliant. You've unmuted yourself. Brilliant. Okay, how are you feeling, Torgan? Are you feeling right?
I went from being an unwanted baby. And the walls of thick bricks. I'm peeking over the wall. I could see a landscape.
Amazing, yeah.
And then during the process, the walls go down, and it was not brick, it was gold.
Wow, gold, amazing.
And the landscape I was looking at was an ordinary landscape, but then turned into more the green,
Oh,
and
wow.
then to gold.
Wow, I like that.
And then at the end, it was just space with the golden dust.
Wow.
And it was so beautiful. And to be, oh, it's dark. And to be in that space with that sparkle.
Yeah.
And knowing I'm worthy.
No,
And
you're
knowing
worthy.
that I am.
Yeah.
It was very, very beautiful. Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And the landscape's interesting because I remember when I was working with veterans, obviously this process was born from then, and the ones that could see the landscape, or the ones that could see the sea, or the ones that could see something or have a little perception of something over the wall, were ones that were really ready to stand fully in their healing journey and could see hope for the future. And some that couldn't see over the wall, that could just see dark or could just see grey, then I knew that there was some more work that we needed to do around feeling safe in the world. But so it tells me a lot when someone sees something over the wall. So when I work individually with people, I will say, what do you see? What do you imagine? And so that tells me massively where somebody is on their spiritual journey. So the fact that you've seen gold is absolutely incredible, and you're very, very ready. So Lancing, so that's really good. That's great, Torben. You're in the right place. So Lancing, let me see what Lancing said. Thank you, Torben, for sharing that. What if you see steep mountains? So when did you see steep mountains? Open it up, Lancing.
The child saw steep mountains.
Yeah.
Difficult to climb.
Yeah.
The mountains.
Yeah. So at the start, seeing the steep mountains shows me exactly what you've just said. Like, it was, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to get over those mountains, right? Mm-hmm. And then what happened at the end? What was the outcome of the?
As an adult, then as myself, saw there was paths in the mountains.
Mm.
Yeah.
So there's a path. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the more kind of like the hike I did last weekend. So that was it was beautiful. Mm. It was hard. You know, you had to climb.
Yeah.
But there was a path.
Yeah. So if you were to do that process again, I'm not saying you do it now, but if you were to do that process again, it would be really interesting to see what you see on the other side of the wall now, because it's opened the doorways for hope, and transformation. Because what we want to get to is a space where perhaps there isn't a mountain there anymore, or it's a mountain, you think it's beautiful and you're sitting there, and that you've actually got through that mountain or over that mountain, and then on the other side. One of the processes in Sparkle takes that process to a next level, which I won't divulge, but it takes it to a new level. And so that's when we're really ready to step into our sovereignty and our true light being. And so that would be the next bit, but we work with this until we get to that space. So yeah, brilliant. So how do you feel? Do you feel like a little bit more hopeful?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I do. I mean, I know the intention that I set obviously was with reuniting with my son. So I know that's going to be a difficult path. But as long as there is a path.
Yeah, there was a path, right? So that's really good. Yeah. And obviously, if I was working individually with you, we could really tune in to the aspects of what that child was experiencing. But obviously on this, collectively, for the purpose of this evening, you know, that I wasn't going to do that. But, you know, if we worked individually, we could really go into it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my darling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Did anybody else want to share? Guy, did you want to share? Roshni wants to. I'll go to Guy and then I'll go to Roshni. Guy,
Hi,
how was that for you, Guy?
Okay, that was good. Yeah, I managed to get the wall down. Well, to say down, it disappeared, but I still feel there's a veil, some sort of obstruction that I can't see, but I can see what's going on the other side. And there was a valley and sort of plains leading down and sort of
wow,
around the corner.
How old was your child?
Sorry?
How old was your child?
Probably about 8, I think, maybe. Yeah, but I felt my child actually, and I think I feel this when I was a child, that I was much more mature until I got to a certain age, and it just. But you do that anyway. That's called adolescence, partly, isn't it? But sometimes there was more to me.
Yeah, but what I'm feeling is the responsibility of it. So what I was really feeling there was that as that child, you held that responsibility for being the one that, you know, held things together. Yeah. So that the veil is very interesting because it's an unseen, like you can't see exactly what it is, but you know that there is something that stops you. And I really feel this is about feeling responsible to heal the world, really. You know, like I'm responsible. I'm the one that has to make sure everything's all right. I'm the one that has to heal the world. So that might be where.
But I think the other there's another aspect, which is like I don't feel that I remember anything before I was 5. It seems to be a complete block. So I don't know if I've blocked something out, or if that's a transition, because as an infant, some people still connected to previous other realms or whatever, previous lives.
Yeah, I mean,
and maybe there's a point that I didn't come into this or lose that connection until that was 5. I don't know, but.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing is when you set the intention for what you want to heal, then what will come up will be exactly where you need to go. And sometimes what I've found is that we go to an older child first, and then quite often, because that's all we can really deal with in that moment, and then quite often it will take us to a much younger child. And as you were quite rightly saying, like, you know, when you're sort of the 3-year-old aspect is sort of when we're stepping into that ego of I, me, I, you know, and all of this. And that's when quite often there's a feeling of separation to source. So quite often I'll see this with people, they'll go back to the age of 3 or 2.5. And it's where there's that, oh my goodness, I'm separate from mother and I'm separate from this and I have to ask for, you know, like things. And so that's when it's the ego, but that's when we are quite often we feel that sense of we're doing it on our own. So it just, you know, it just depends on what your perceptions of belief were at that time. And it also depends on what you brought in to heal in this time. Yeah. So did you enjoy it though? Was it cool?
Yes, that's good, thank you. Yes.
Good, excellent, brilliant. Thanks, Guy. Brilliant. Okay, Roshni, you wanted to?
Yeah, just wanted to say really quickly, it's funny, Turgan mentioned about Sparkle, and that it's called Sparkle to Success.
I know, that's probably why.
When you told us to fill up the heart, it was glittery gold. And I've never had that before when we do, you know, the initial healing. And then my 4-year-old was wearing like a bit of a dreary dress before we started. By the end of it, she was wearing a glittery dress. So that was really sweet.
Nice. And I'm going to show you something just for that. Hold on. Silver sparkly one. I use this with my children's groups, so maybe I'll use it on Sparkle as well. And actually, if you look at the front cover, it's got that. So it's very much about the magic wand and sparkle. And it is interesting because if we're thinking about our vibrational field, then we really are thinking about our field being that true sparkling light, aren't we? Yeah. And so the more light we've got in our field, the more sparkles we've got in our field, the more we are expanded in that high vibrational light. So it makes sense that they wanted to call it Sparkle to Success all those years ago. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Okay, anyone else want to share before I do something else? Anyone else want to share? No? Stacey, Zoe, do you want to share? No? No one? No, she doesn't. That's fine. So that's a little taster of one of the processes, and it is one of my favorite ones, I have to say. There's a couple of others that are a favorite, and maybe what I'll do next Tuesday is another one of my favorite processes, or I may do the same one, we'll see. And then if you want to come on it, you can revisit it. But so what we're going to do now, Wendy, is we've put everybody into the pot. We're not going to talk about the place on the course, okay, today, because we're going to hold that until next Tuesday. But we are going to offer a free session for one person tonight. So Michelle's also in this. I know she's not on this call, but she's just gone off, but she's still definitely part of it. So what did you do, Wendy? Open your sound up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little connection with God's source energy and ask for the highest and best, and the person that is in alignment to receiving this session, that it's perfect for them. And Wendy's going to pick it now. Who is it? Who's it? I can't read it. Torgen, she receives a session. Ah, Torgen. Hey, do you want to unmute yourself, Torgen? Unmute yourself.
Thank you. I'm so happy.
Oh, bless you. So we will, congratulations. That's obviously the universe was lining up for you, Torgen, which is really lovely, really, really lovely. And so what we'll do is we will send you a link so that you can book in for your session, okay? And you can choose a time on my calendar. So what you'll do is you'll get an email with a link, and then you just go onto my calendar and you just choose a time that suits you. All right.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm lost of words. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. Oh, it's so lovely. Lansing said that's who came to my mind. So that was really nice. And Stacey said, congratulations. And I'm sure everybody else feels the same. So we will be doing another one of these. We're going to do it on Tuesday, Wendy, is that right? We're doing it on Tuesday. Yeah, so invite whoever you want to invite. Yeah, same time. Whoever you want to invite, and feel free to come on again if you want to. And if you want to invite anybody that hasn't experienced this deep healing, then please do that as well. And we will do the same, but we will also offer somebody that free place on the course, which starts September the 11th. Interesting day to start, actually, isn't that interesting? 9/11. Yeah, so September the 11th, and it is for 8 weeks, and it is live, but it will also be recorded. And what you receive is the manual, and you also receive all of the recordings as well that are audio. So if you have that, then you'll receive them again, and you can share them with whoever you want. But also the manual is going to be upgraded. So whatever is in the manual now will be upgraded for you as well. So I'm channeling the upgrade for it. So yeah, same time next week if I don't see you before. Thank you so much for being here. And anyone listening to the replay, thank you so much for being here and listening to the replay. Feel free to come back on Tuesday so that your name will be put in the pot for a possibility of you having a session or winning a space on the course. Okay, So much love to everybody, and I will see you very soon. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye bye. Bye.